Years ago, I was teaching a class of 7th graders about their president and how it changes and develops during puberty. Just as I was talking about how it doesn't work quite as well, a young man near the front of the room was playing with his new baseball bat pen, the kind you get at like one of the Colorado Rockies games. Nice big wood pen, with a little pen in the bottom. He was sitting there doing this, when all of a sudden, just as I said, it doesn't work as well, he whacked himself in the head. He looked up with the most amazed look on his face, and I said to him, "Well, what did you expect to happen?" And he said, "It was an accident." And I said, "No, it was the failure of you to use your president and think about the consequences of your actions." That president is one of the most important of the 3 parts of our social brain. It helps us stop and think before we act. If we look at our models here, it's really the front part of the brain, the frontal lobe, that carries out the important executive functions. It's the last part of the brain to develop in children and the last to evolve for our human species. It also helps separate us from other species on the planet. With executive function skills, we can regulate our attention, we can organize ourselves, we can manage the clock, manage time, we have self-control. When we feel something, the president allows us to stop our emotions and think about, what should I do? How should I act? Whether I'm excited to see a friend and I want to run out there on the playground when I'm not supposed to, whether I get distracted by a sound in the classroom or outside of the windows and I want to look when I'm supposed to be doing my reading, the president tells what part of your brain is to turn off and what to switch on. Now, between boys and girls, the president has the biggest difference between boys and girls of probably any of the 3 major areas we're going to talk about. First of all, in girls, it develops almost 18 months to 2 years ahead of boys. So if you go to any preschool, kindergarten classroom, most of the girls are sitting politely. They look nice, their hair is all nice, they've just had lunch and their clothes are still clean, and they raise their hand when the teacher asks a question. If you look at most of the boys, they're squirming around in their seats, they've got lunch on their shirts, their hair is sticking out in 6 different directions, they're touching their buddies, they're turning around grabbing things on the shelves. Their presidents aren't quite developed yet, but by about 2nd or 3rd grade, we're hoping all students have a good, basic working president. You'll see later then in puberty, as that president grows and will double in size, then it doesn't work quite as well. So you'll see a drop in presidential functioning during those junior high years. But as we go through adolescence, high school, into college, that president grows more and more and more, allowing us to be efficient adults and also have good social control. Now again, there's a difference between women and men. Women are going to finish growing their frontal lobes around 26, while for young men it's about 28 before that frontal lobe is fully ready, fully operational, and helps you be the appropriate social human being you're capable of being. Back to our younger children, I recall years ago I was talking to a group of kindergartners, and for you parents of younger children, one of the most important things you can stress is protecting your president. Wearing a helmet if you're biking, skiing, skateboarding. Damage to your president can be lifelong and really cripples any child. Concussions are a major cause of presidential damage. But I was talking to the kindergartners about using their president, and one young boy went home that night and said to his mom, "Mom, Mr. Knippenberg says that President Clinton is in my brain." I got a call from the mom and I said, "Well, no, I didn't really say that President Clinton's in your brain. We didn't want that." But we did talk about the importance of the president and helping your child understand how their president works and how they can exercise self-control. They're not a puppet of somebody else. They can manage themselves and exercise self-control. Lots of reminders help children. Use your president, kids. Don't forget to use your president today. When you're about to have a mistake happen or you see something about to fall over or get knocked over because there's roughhousing, you might want to just say, "Hey, are you using your president right now?" If not, there's probably going to be a problem. Behavior charts work well for children. For the younger ones, a little sticker chart for using their president works great. Little notes on desktops. I'm constantly drawing little pictures for children to put on their desks to remind them to pay attention to the teacher or look at their materials and use their president, both in the classroom and as they're heading out into the playground. they can have control of their president, is what you're emphasizing. Before activities, during activities, and also after activities. One of the most important parenting tips I like to recommend is the half-double rule. So if your child hasn't used their president, they've made a social mistake, they've made a behavioral mistake at home or the playground or school, sit down and talk to them and let them know what their consequences are. Then let them know after they've calmed down, if they will talk to you about it and they can understand themselves and how they behaved, you'll take half the consequence off. If they don't talk with you, however, and don't try to understand what choices they could have made differently, then their consequences double. So in the words of one of our most famous presidents, Abraham Lincoln, unless we understand the past, we're bound to repeat it. So help your kids use their president before, during, and after.